What happens in this house, part two. The reason why I'm talking about this, the reason why I can't let the past stay in the past is because my father violated me again in June of 2022. I came back to Louisiana after living in Atlanta and Philadelphia for 8 years. After my daughter was born, I started missing home, and I wanted her to get to know my family. My father apologized to me and my sister when I was pregnant in 2021, and he told us that he was going to therapy. Couple that with the fact that he hadn't tried to assault me during the times I had visited in previous years, I felt that it was safe to go home. I thought that we could leave the past behind us and move forward. I was sorely mistaken. We left Philly and came to Louisiana in May of 2022. Our initial plan was to stay for the summer and then go back to Philly in the fall. I talked to my parents and they were happy to have us staying with them. Because where they live doesn't have 1 gigabyte internet, we told them that we would eventually get a place in Lafayette. The first couple of weeks we were at my parents' home was all good. Then my father's jealousy started coming out. He was increasingly antagonistic and hostile towards my husband. After being there for a month, we got a place in Lafayette after landing a huge client. As soon as we got the payment, we found a place in Lafayette and then moved out the next day. In our haste to move out, we left quite a few things behind. So the day after we moved into our new place, I decided to go back and get our stuff. Since I had to pass through New Iberia to get to my parents' house, I decided that I would go visit my sister and her kids before going back to Baldwin since they hadn't met my daughter yet. I stayed way longer than I intended to, so it was late when I got to my parents' house. I was tired after gathering the things we left and chose to stay overnight because my baby was cranky and I didn't want to make a 45-minute drive with a crying infant. Around 5 a.m., I woke up with the covers pulled off of me and I see my father standing next to the bed holding his erect eggplant in his hand. He said something to the effect of, let him get some just this one time. He can't help himself. I was so shocked, confused, and disgusted that he would do this as my 8 month old daughter lay next to me. I told him no and then got up, packed the car, and then went home. While I was loading the car, he apologized and said he didn't know what came over him. I went home and didn't talk to him or my mother for 2 weeks afterwards. When the 4th of July got close, my mama called asking why they hadn't heard from me. I couldn't tell her the truth, so I just lied and said that I had been busy and traveling with my husband. And we did go on a trip to Dallas, but it was only for a couple of days. She invited me to come to the house and stay for the 4th of July weekend, which I reluctantly agreed to do because I had already told her I didn't have plans and couldn't lie my way out of it. Plus, at that point, I hadn't told her the truth about my father. I still felt like it was a secret I should take to my grave back then. So I go back with my daughter to their house, and that is something I'll never forgive myself for. I was so accustomed to my father doing something fucked up, him apologizing, and then trying to move on as if nothing happened. It took him and my husband falling out for the hold he had on my mind to finally start loosening. I was getting my daughter ready to go to the cookout at my aunt's house, and I was talking to my husband on speakerphone while getting her dressed. My father comes in the room and he says something about my daughter being nappy headed. I don't remember exactly what it was he said, but he was like just joking around or whatever. And then he goes to the car. My husband then abruptly ends our call, and then he calls my father and curses him out. He tells him he'll never see our daughter again and to never call her nappy headed. So my father comes back in the house yelling and screaming at me about what my husband did. I was still in the house and I had no idea what was going on. After that, I didn't have a moment of peace. I went home the next day, but the remainder of the time I was around my father, he constantly harassed me and talked shit about my husband. He tried to poison my mind against him in the same manner he did with the other men I had been with. He tried to convince me that my husband had a bunch of secrets that he was hiding from me, and he tried to imply that his other children were saying fucked up things about him. He tried to get me to confirm his worst thoughts about my husband. This lasted for hours. I went to bed and woke up to more of the same. The more he talked, the more I started comparing his character to my husband's. And the more I compared, the worse he looked. So I stopped engaging with him. The harassment continued all the way from Baldwin to Lafayette, and that's like a 45-minute drive. I didn't say a word. He kept asking if I would let Lawrence keep our daughter from him. Silence. More lies about my husband's character. Silence. Accusations of him abusing me and giving me two concussions. More silence. So, about that, I'm going to pause and explain. So, I had two concussions, one in 2018 and one in 2020. And during this ride, he just had this epiphany and came to the conclusion that I didn't hit my head on the sink or fall from a platform. No, it was my husband who hit me and gave me the concussions. This is the kind of stuff that he does constantly. Just comes up with all kinds of grand lies. And as I'm doing this video, you'll continue to see just how prolific of a liar he is. So when he dropped me off, I didn't even say goodbye. In that moment, I decided that I was done with him forever. For the next few weeks, I was deeply depressed and I was constantly beating myself up for bringing my daughter back around my father after what he did. I couldn't sleep, and the only time I had an appetite was when I smoked. One night, I decided that I was going to end it all. I had a bunch of insulin saved from when I was pregnant, and I decided that I would inject it all at once. I was sitting on the sofa around 3 a.m., crying and trying to work up the nerve to go through with it. My husband got up to go to the kitchen to make the baby a bottle, and he instantly sensed something was wrong with me. He hugged me and then went to give our daughter her bottle. And when she went back to sleep, he came and sat next to me on the sofa, and he held me while I cried. He asked me what was wrong, and I told him that I needed to tell him the truth about my father. He asked me, did he sexually abuse you? And I told him yes. And then I told him about what happened the night I went to my parents' house to get our things. I had never seen him that angry before. But he was never mad at me, though, just my father. If he broke up with me and took our daughter, I wouldn't have even fought him because he would have been justified, in my opinion. Instead, he started encouraging me to tell my mother the truth.